Let's go to the biggest game, not only of week 1, but maybe the biggest game of the entire regular season. That was number 3 Ohio State, the defending national champion, taking down the preseason number 1 team in Texas. The first time ever Texas entered the year as the number 1 team in the country. It only lasts 1 week because Ohio State beat them 14-7. To start off with the highest graded players from the victorious Ohio State Buckeyes. First up is their cornerback, Jermaine Matthews Jr. with an 80 grade. Linebacker Sonny Styles up next, 73.1. Wide receiver Carnell Tate, 72.5. Running back CJ Donaldson, 72. Jalen McClain, the safety, 71.6. And Julian Sayin in his debut as Ohio State's quarterback with a 70.5 PFF grade. Let's go over to Texas with their highest graded players in the loss. Starting off with defensive tackle Alex January, 83.4. Running back Trey Wisner, 80.7. Tight end Jack Endries, our guy, 77.3. Leona LaFau, the linebacker, 75. Trevor Gooseby, 73.9. This one's going to stir up a lot of controversy. Arch Manning, 76. Now, I think, Dawn, I should start here because Arch Manning, people are going to look at that and say, how on earth does Arch Manning get a 76? Is it because his last name gets a boost because of that? Arch Manning, in the first 3 quarters, was really bad. Arch Manning in the fourth quarter was really freaking good. Arch Manning, though, in the first 3 quarters, had a 43.1 passing grade. He was 9 for 15 for 38 yards and an interception, only 2.5 yards per attempt. His mechanics looked off. He just looked uncomfortable overall in the first 3 quarters. I also was pretty unimpressed by Steve Sarkisian's play calling in this game. It was pretty vanilla, I thought, for most of the game until the very, very end. And then it took really 3.5 quarters for he and the Texas offense to show any signs of life. But when it did, he looked really good. In fact, a 91.3 passing grade in the fourth quarter alone with 4 big-time throws in the final 8 minutes. He had 132 yards and a touchdown in that fourth quarter. What I will say about Arch Manning is, yes, for most of the game, he wasn't great. But you got to calm down. This is his first ever big start, I will say, in college football against the defending national champion in a road environment. And this is a Texas team, really, on offense that is very young. 4 new starters on the offensive line. Brand new set of weapons for Arch Manning to throw to, too, considering all the losses they had last year. And don't forget, C.J. Stroud, when he was the Ohio State quarterback back in 2021, his first year as the quarterback, he didn't play well in the second game of the year against Oregon. Everyone wanted C.J. Stroud benched after that game. And look at him now. He's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Now, I'm not saying Arch Manning will be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL as of right now, but I'm just saying give it time. Listen, it was a tough week 1 game. He really bounced back in the fourth quarter with an incredible fourth quarter. Honestly, it just wasn't enough for Texas to win this game. That is the stat that told the story. Those Arch Manning in the first 3 quarters wasn't very pretty.
And what's funny is that, especially with that fourth quarter surge, that for the most part, you look at Texas offensive numbers against Ohio State's, and on paper, they have the advantage here. And to me, I think it just shows you how frustrating this game is for Texas, especially with as well as their defense played. Their defense played a spectacular game, only giving up 14 points. Even the touchdown catch from Carnell Tate was contested. He made a miracle catch on it. Texas run defense was spectacular up front. I thought, and then you just look at the biggest moments in this game, and this is so often where Ohio State won, especially on defense last year. My stat that tells the story, you look at Texas going 1 for 5 on 4th down, and the last 4 of those, to me, kind of encapsulate everything that happened with this Texas offense. Their first drive of the game, they're driving into Ohio State territory, 4th and 2, C.J. Baxter gets stuffed. There was a failed quarterback sneak on the Ohio State 1-yard line in the third quarter, one of those patented goal line stands that we saw so often last year against Nebraska, against Penn State, in the playoff against Texas. We saw it again there. The throw that he made, maybe his best throw of the day in the back corner of the end zone on 4th down with about 8 minutes left. That ball, look, really good coverage, could have been caught, would have been contested, just didn't happen. And then even on the last drive, he misses the throw on 3rd and 5. He comes back with a completion, but Caleb Downs is all over Jack Endries for the tackle short in Ohio State territory. They couldn't finish drives even when they had momentum, right? They had a hard time creating explosive plays. And let's be honest, Ohio State, and especially the way they played yesterday, Caleb Downs leading the charge. This might be the best secondary in the country. It's at least got an argument. Jermaine Matthews was fantastic. Davis and Igbinosun was good. You got some other guys that are playing really well in the back end. And Matt Patricia called an absolutely great defensive game. So I think when you look at this game, for as much as, yes, for 3 quarters, Ohio State dominated sort of in a defensive sort of way, a game this close to the vest still came down to big moments. And the handful, half dozen of big moments in this game, Ohio State won those moments.
Yeah, that goal line stand, especially when Arch Manning could not sneak it in on fourth down, that was probably the biggest play of the game.
Absolutely. And it's just the way that Ohio State, their defense operated so many times last year. It was just they make you fight for every single inch that you're going to earn. And for this game, I look, and I know there's two new quarterbacks and two really good defenses in this game, but for this game to finish 14-7, that's unreal in a game of this magnitude, right? And Ohio State, it just felt like their defense was constantly going to make this stand, and they did it just like last year, even with a brand new defensive line, some new pieces. They did it again, and it looks so much like all of those efforts last year from Ohio State's defense.
Absolutely, and one of the stars of that defense was Jermaine Matthews Jr., one of the new corners they're starting this year opposite of Davison Igbinosun. And yes, Drake Holiday in the chat makes a good point. He did give up the one touchdown on the day against Texas, but other than that, he was spectacular. Really, in his second career start for Ohio State with Denzel Burke now drafted by the Cardinals, 84.6 coverage grade. He had a pick and 2 pass breakups on 4 targets. Also a defensive stop in this game. Only surrendered a 50% completion rate overall in this game. So yeah, he did give up a touchdown, but outside that touchdown, he was lights out against Texas. Ohio State's secondary was easily, in my opinion, the best unit on the field in yesterday's game. Nobody was getting open, it seemed like, for Texas yesterday, and Jermaine Matthews was the star of that. His development is absolutely massive because we know Caleb Downs is the best safety in college football, probably the best defensive player in college football. We know Igbinosun is a very good corner. One of the question marks, at least for Ohio State, was will someone step up, whether it be Jermaine Matthews or maybe a true freshman in Devin Sanchez, who played a little bit yesterday too. Matthews looked excellent at the other starting outside corner spot. And Ohio State right now looks like it may have one of the best secondaries in college football once again.
Their secondary was the best unit in this game, front to back. I mean, again, a couple of mistakes in the fourth quarter late, but they played just absolutely lights-out football yesterday. And enough – look, there hasn't been enough conversation. Look, it all surrounds Arch Manning. He's the name. He's the guy in the commercials, all that stuff. But Texas receivers did not get open at all. Yes, they just did not get even the catches they made. You look at the tight window throws that Manning had to make late in the game, the touchdown to Livingstone, the big catch down the lleft sideline on the last drive to Jack Endries.
Whole shot. Pretty sure Eli loves that, yeah.
Absolutely. We know. It's just one of those things where Manning, it wasn't just him. It was not just Arch Manning that is to blame here for the loss. They didn't get open. The Ohio State secondary put the umbrella on this offense. There just weren't that many big plays to be had, and you just felt like Ohio State, even in a low-scoring game, was controlling the pace.
Drake Holiday said he tweeted at Trevor to bump Matthews up in the rankings, but then immediately after you tweeted that, he gave up the touchdown. Still a great game for Jermaine Matthews, though. So overall, should still probably get a boost.
No, he still should. Look, you give up one play an entire game, you'll live with that.
Second career start against Texas, and he plays like that. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's big for him to step up with Denzel Burke.
And how about a guy making his first career start at quarterback in Julian Sayin? He looked pretty good out there, too.
Yeah, I mean, look, the numbers are not going to jump off the page. 13 to 20, 106 yards, a touchdown, 70 PFF grade, 88.9% adjusted completion rate. I thought even watching Sayin in the spring game and through some of the video we've seen, I go, this guy is accurate. I think the accuracy is the biggest appeal to him. But I think really what this game is about for Julian Sayin, there are going to be other games where he's got this receiving core and they're not uncharacteristically dropping balls and he's going to tee off. There's going to be games where Julian Sayin tees off. He looks like he's in command of this offense. But I think this is a game where you understand the assignment. I think Ryan Day went to him and went to his entire team and said, this is the type of game we're going to have to play today. We're not going to air it out on this team. We're not the same as last year with Will Howard, not yet at least, right? Julian Sayin's making his first start. You could not have protected a quarterback better than Ohio State did for Julian Sayin in this game, and you couldn't, if you were Julian Sayin, you couldn't have understood the assignment better. Hey, man, go out there. Your defense is playing elite football. Just don't screw it up. The one thing that could kill us in this game is a turnover or some sort of mistake. Go out there and just execute. It's not going to be pretty today. There's days where it's going to be pretty. It's not going to be today. Go out there, play winning football. And on this day for Sayin, 126 and a touchdown, that was winning football. And you can't point to really a single big mistake. There wasn't a single big mistake he made the entire day.
Yeah.
I think Sayin just keeping his composure and Ryan Day getting him to understand what type of game they were going to be in. This was the plan the entire time. This was not like, oh, both defenses are playing great, so let's slow the pace down even more. No, this was prior to the game, guarantee it. Ryan Day said, hey, we're going to make this a slugfest.
Yeah.
We're not going to make this about the quarterbacks. We're not trying to get in a shootout. I don't have the experience at my quarterback spot for that yet. Sayin understood the assignment. Ryan Day, Matt Patricia, everybody involved coaching understood the assignment. Just a spectacularly coached game again, once again from Ohio State, and their quarterback deserves a lot of credit for keeping his composure.
He does too, and also Carnell Tate with an unreal catch for that
Absolutely.
touchdown. Just a ridiculous double catch there by Carnell Tate, who could be a first-round pick again for Ohio State at wide receiver this year. Before we move on to the next game and everything else, one, is Ohio State's chances of repeating for a national title? How good do you feel about that right now? And two, are you pressing the panic button yet on Texas?
No panic button on Texas because their defense is still great. Texas defense played a spectacular game.
Yeah.
That's first. Their defense is going to give them the floor. The offense needs time. They need reps against a defense that's not Ohio State's.
Yeah.
So they have time. They need to get ready for the bigger games in the SEC. I still wouldn't pick Ohio State to repeat, but their chances just got a lot better because, honestly, you look at their talent level, the way their defense played in this game, and then the rest of their schedule. At this point, with this win in their back pocket, they would have to lose 3 games.
Yeah, and I just don't know where that's happening.
They're not losing 3 games.
No.
Even if you sit there and say
Illinois, Penn State, Michigan, they have to lose all 3, basically.
Pretty much. And honestly, even if you say, okay, again, if you lose 2 of those 3 and they're 10-2 in the Big Ten with this win in their back pocket, no, Ohio State, I know it's week 1, barring some sort of disaster like that, something that just absolutely shouldn't happen, like 12 injuries or some nonsense. I think Ohio State's basically already locked in a playoff spot.
Yeah.
After week 1. I know that's getting ahead of ourselves, and that might be, there's a lot of teams, a lot of their future opponents that might not love that, but they're not losing 3 games.
No.
This was one. If they were going to do it, this was going to be one of the 3. This team, we'll see if they win the Big Ten, them, Penn State, Oregon, all that stuff. Ohio State's going to the playoff.
If you look at their schedule, too, I mean, like I said, Illinois, Penn State, Michigan, I believe are the only ranked teams they play right now. I don't think they're losing all 3 of those games. They'd probably win at least 2 of those games.
And
right?
the way their secondary played, I know it's a long ways away, and I'm making you nervous. Well, there's going to be a lot of pressure on those Penn State wide receivers.
Oh, they look good against Nevada. I'll just say that.
Yeah, they did. Penn State, good day yesterday. First ever 46-11 game.
I saw it. Yeah,
First
scoregami. It's rare in scoregami for college football. Yeah.
I didn't even know they kept it for college football. I figured
whoever does that is a sicko, and I love him.
That's also true.
That's incredible.
No, this Ohio State, the chances got a lot better with this win because I would say it's whatever the odds are for Ohio State to make the playoff now, they're not high enough. It's probably 99%.
They're going to be the number 1 team in the country now. They enter the week at number 3, and they're going to be number 1. And they don't play. They play Illinois October 11th. Like, they're going to be number 1 until at least mid-October.
Yep.
And maybe even longer than that,
It's
too.
that Ohio State-Penn State game, we're looking 7-8 weeks ahead. That's going to be a 1 versus 2, isn't it?
It might be.
Most likely, because Penn State they don't have a whole lot. Well, they have the Oregon game. Penn State's got to get through the Oregon game.
Yeah.
But if they do that, that's going to be a 1-2.
I'm with you on both. I think Ohio State, their chances of repeating obviously are much better after this week. But also Texas, I'm not pressing the panic button just yet, but they do have a tough schedule. So Texas is like, okay, you need to basically win all but one of your final 11 games. I would say the rest of the season they have Oklahoma, they're at Florida, they're at Georgia too, they're at home against Texas A&M. So yeah, I mean, it's tougher, obviously, now for Texas, but I'm not pressing the panic button yet. This is a very, very young offense, and we saw that yesterday with Arch Manning and the offensive line and those receivers. It's very young. Give it time, but I'm not pressing the panic button yet on Texas.